All these rumors are fun to talk about. And Red Bull hasn't blown up yet.
Alex Albon's birthday, and his gift, Logan Sargent's car.
With the drain covers, why is this such a big issue?
That's what I'm saying. Alonso more and more is looking like Aaron Rodgers.
He's geriatric. We just kind of want him for merit mark.
You cannot win a constructors battle when your second driver is not performing.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Things are getting crazy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Lights Out Latest. My name is Marina. I'm here with Christina, Sydney, and Jason. And our questions have finally been answered. Our champion has finally been crowned. Lando Norris has won the 2025 Drivers' Champion with McLaren, obviously saying that constructors a while ago. I want to start championship reactions, and obviously I want to start with Christina, our resident McLaren Lando Norris fan. Girl, how do you feel? Because I know the feeling.
I put this on at like 6 a.m. this morning. And I will say my podium prediction was actually accurate.
Did you say Max, Oscar, Lando?
Yeah. I said Lando just needs third. Put Lando in third.
That's the first time we've ever gotten it right.
Ever. Out of 97
Out of 97 episodes.
I got it all right, actually.
You're the first person to get
I got that
prediction.
right. I got the Red Bull seat predictions right. I got the championship right.
I think we all predicted the Red Bull seat.
Yeah, but I called that first months ago.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. But
how does it feel?
I didn't cry. I was close, but I didn't cry.
I think I was crying.
Tears of joy, obviously.
I was very happy.
There were a couple times in the race I did go like this. Let me know when it's over. I did not want to see the Yuki thing and turn one. I wasn't really paying attention. I was really covering my eyes. I was like, let me know when it's over.
I think the one thing, and we'll all share opinions about the race, about the year, whatever, whether it be today or in future episodes. The one thing that I kept hearing over and over again that really resonates with me is no one can take it away from you. They said it, Jensen said it, DC said it. No one can ever take the championship away. It's his. He won it. Whether or not people think he earned it, he deserved it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. He earned it. It's his. It's written in the record books, and it will always be there. So I think it was really special, regardless of how I feel about it, to see him celebrate. I think that's always special. No matter what driver it is, you can see the pure emotion and the pure joy. So
doing that last lap is always just seeing that as something special.
I mean, as Charles said in 2020, 2021 during their streaming times, Lando, we can be world champion. I said, please, Lando.
So next year,
it's Charles's year.
Yes.
Because it said we.
Yes.
I did see that post on Instagram
Yes.
by a person who makes little animated things of each of the story of the races, and they're really funny.
Yeah.
And it was Charles going, next year's my year. He's great.
He touched the trophy, so that's either a really good
thing
sign
or
or it's a
a
really
bad
bad
sign.
It's
thing.
touching the seal.
Or
that's the closest
Stanley
we get
Cup.
to
Well,
touching the seal.
Normally, if you touch the seal, it's you're screwed for finals week that year. But
Yeah,
it could
or,
be a good sign for next year then.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you've touched the Stanley Cup, you're not gonna win a Stanley
Yeah.
Cup ever
Yeah.
with
That's a
that team and
thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. But
I think
nothing can get me down. Everything's going great. The world can end right now. Merch drops tomorrow. I will be buying it.
that was really funny. I was thinking about that, and it's anytime there's a decider like this, every team
has the merch.
when McLaren had merch for an Oscar win and an Lando win, I think
The McLaren merch,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm waiting for the Lando merch to be
I
dropped.
don't like the McLaren merch
It's coming
either.
out tomorrow.
we were saying it looks like an off-brand Max thing from the past.
I would
don't know
say
what his
every
looks
Max
merch
definitely
is
had
looking
merch.
the same anymore.
Yeah.
Even baseball merch all looks the same anymore.
Yeah.
We're
Lando's
champions.
is coming out tomorrow. I've been just refreshing the thing, and then I finally saw it on Instagram tomorrow, and I went, okay, thank you. I was waiting to spend my money.
But you mentioned you got your prediction right. Max won the race. What irks me about this championship is the fact that Max had the most race wins and the most pole positions this year in a far inferior car.
That's still crazy.
Even this weekend, there was not a pace advantage. Oscar was faster in the final stint, much faster. And in the normal stint, they weren't pulling away. It was the same gap. He created a 1.8
there weren't many
2-second
gaps.
There was
This
They weren't really
race.
telling him to go, though. They were just hold your
no,
pace.
but if Oscar went, I don't think there was a pace advantage in that car. is my point. Like,
But also, Max
he had gone
only
faster-
has one more win than the other drivers, because Lando and Oscar have 7, and he has
yeah, but
8.
think about how insane that is.
Yeah.
Max has 8 wins in a far inferior car, and the McLaren split 7 apiece.
Yeah.
Like,
Just the
like,
logistics
and I
of
think,
that.
And I think, again, I'll say it again because I don't want to get attacked. All 3 of them earned it. All 3 of them would have been
absolutely.
deserving champions, and Lando Norris earned it. Whether or not I think he was the better driver in 2025 is a separate conversation, but he earned it, and he had the most consistent season, and he had the most complete package in terms of his car, his driving, his mentality, his ability to bounce back in the second half of the season. Like, he had the most complete season.
Yep.
And he won, and he was rewarded for it. Now, to think, and that's why I brought up the other point of 8 wins, to think that Max in an inferior car for majority of the season, if not all of the season, was able to claw back 104 points to Oscar, which ended up splitting the McLarens, finishing ahead of Oscar and only 2 points back from Lando. I don't know how many of the last 10 races he won, but it was a lot. So it's kind of wild, I think, to think about.
Like, when you bring up that point, like, Lando had that complete package. Obviously, first half of the season, we're like, this is Oscars to lose. This is so Oscars to lose.
Until
Lando's
Baku?
obviously, that's the thing. But then in the second half of the season, we're like, Max could take this. We're like, this is Max's. But Lando was always that contender.
He was always
the
there.
whole time.
Yeah.
He was always that contender because it was either Oscar and Lando, or it was Max and Lando, and then Oscar was in that mix in the second half, obviously.
And, like, don't doubt him.
No, but it's like at the same time, it was like, okay, but is he going to have that fall that he started to have last year that people were questioning?
Yeah.
Because then he started to question himself, but it was also you started to have that Mad Max coming at you.
Oh, yeah.
And times, which scared him, but this was a whole different situation where it was just a whole different thing that we haven't seen in 15 years.
Yeah. No.
That it was different, and you could tell that he took what he had learned from last year
Oh, yeah.
and applied it. And it obviously worked out for him in that way where he kept his cool. And honestly, I saw parts of Max from him today. Like, holy crap.
No,
I suspect he was playing
It's
video games this week.
today he could have
He was
could have
just-
hung back. He could have taken the
He was
easiest possible
aggressive.
strategy route and just hung around. He could have gone the same strategy as Oscar, waited for everyone to pit, stayed out front, but he didn't.
No.
He didn't. He overtook. He had great pace. He had that incident with Yuki, which I do want to talk about. Yuki, I do agree, pushed him off, and this could be very, very controversial. Hot take of the week.
Yeah.
I think it was on purpose. I think the call internally to some level was, if you can't keep him behind you, at least have him make a mistake. Like,
Oh,
we need him
100%.
to
Like,
go get
he
forced
was
off.
going to try and stop him
Do
at all
something.
costs.
At all costs.
He wasn't going to crash into him.
He wasn't going to crash into him.
But he was
I don't
gonna
think that
stop
that's a
him.
line that they're not going to
Yeah.
cross.
And
But for sure of like, if you can't
Because then it becomes
overtake,
NASCAR.
yeah, if you can't hold him off, then at the very least he needs to overtake you off track and have to get the position back and like hold him up that way. Like, realistically, and I also think
And it also got complicated then when Leclerc was in the mix because then obviously he couldn't just give that position back or whatnot and
I was
overtake
kind of
again.
pissed at how long Yuki kept George behind. I was like, let him through, goddamn. Like,
Yeah.
we need him. Like, go.
But
So
that was just
Leclerc
kind of
looked dangerous
crazy.
for a while there, too.
Leclerc
He did.
was
Yeah.
dangerous
And I was
for a
impressed.
while.
Very surprising
He
from the
was
Ferrari.
dangerous. I was very surprised with him. I was surprised with that pace in the car this weekend.
oh yeah.
I was very surprised. I
They
was
aced it.
very happy with Charles because not only were we seeing the aggressiveness that we've wanted to see from him, and I think we've seen it from him, but there hasn't been any pace to show that he could use. Not only did he qualify in a place where he could use that pace that was there for once, but he was using it to his advantage. I
Yeah.
had never thought I'd hear McLaren be scared of Ferrari this season. And they were
Yeah.
for a hot second.
Surprisingly, Lewis Hamilton also needs to
He
shout
did
out
well.
the Chinese sprint winner. He finished in the
Chinese
points.
sprint
Yeah.
leader
So-
could do
He
something.
made 8 positions.
Ferrari
Yeah.
He did.
aced the strategy, I will say,
They
on
did
that
great
car.
tonight.
I think with Leclerc, it was almost like a follow in, like, do what the other guy does and just
Yeah.
keep your
Yeah.
position a little bit. But with Lewis, they took a chance and it paid off.
Yep.
And they did a great job.
I mean, it's the classic, like, do the safest predicted and then the other car is like so out of whack, you're like, well, we need to try something crazy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then it doesn't matter. We're gonna finish the back to back anyways.
Yeah.
And the something crazy ended up working. They
Yeah.
really had, like, I think it was Ted Kravitz somebody brought up that like Ferrari's race pace was a lot stronger this weekend than their quali pace, and
Oh yeah.
that showed for most of it. Like Leclerc, I'm almost surprised he didn't get on the podium. I really thought he
really
was gonna
Thought there
for a
was
little bit there.
chance.
Yeah,
Especially in the
I
beginning.
kind of had my eyes closed at that point during that
I
section.
think I would have been shocked for Leclerc to be on the podium and Oscar to also have been there. I think the call would on the last lap, Oscar would have just dropped off the face of the planet and ended up fourth.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of part of I think
they
I don't
were
wanna say
they
part
were
of the
getting
issue, but
they were getting the
part of the
drivers.
difficulty for Max was Oscar couldn't have been there. Like you had to have two alternates. Like
Yeah.
your backups had to be Leclerc and Russell. They both had to be on the podium because if Oscar was ahead of Lando, Oscar would have just dropped off. Like he knew his, and I think it's really funny. There was like two posts back to back on my feed. It was Lando saying they hadn't talked about team orders, and then Oscar saying, "I know what I have to do. Like we've talked about it, but I'm not going to tell you what it
them
is."
until this morning / last night of their time zones.
He said that on Friday. I think here's the thing. It's hard to have that conversation until you know where you're at because like God forbid Lando had gotten eliminated in Q1, it would have been a whole other story, right? You're not going to expect Oscar to drop some positions or whatever when Lando didn't do his part, right? But I think the overall overarching conversation of if it is no longer your fight, if it is between Max and Lando, are you going to help the team? And I think that was very clear. Like, that's why these conversations happened post-Qatar because, as in the media had this conversation, because if Oscar couldn't win it, it was going to be Lando. Like, there was no world in which Oscar didn't give it up.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, I don't think... I think his belief in the team that hopefully he got another chance was stronger than
Oscar can
his
win
revenge.
next year. She's got time.
I think just the way that it was playing out, I didn't think that it was going to happen because unless something happened, like you said, or somebody took him out, or something major happened where Lando was falling back, I
Yeah.
hate saying it, but they were going to, you could even tell, like when they were saying, like, can Oscar build that gap? Can Oscar fall back? Whatever it was, I don't remember exactly, whether it was to build it or decrease it.
Yeah.
Like, they were even asking him to help.
Yeah.
Like, either way,
He
was
was
still...
like, pick up the pace.
Yes, they were still asking him to help because they realized like we need to do something here because doing this is completely two separate entities. When you have a helper there, like they knew that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
So especially when Charles is up on Lando so hard, I'm not going to use George's words, but it was right there. Like,
yeah. And speaking of the two sides of the garage, they did for the first time that I can remember this year split the strategy on the start with Lando on the mediums and Oscar on the hards. I think honestly it was Oscar's best shot. We knew Max was going to start on the mediums. If Lando had decided to start on the mediums, then Oscar also being on the mediums would have killed his race. He would have been on the same strategy as everybody else, and that was that. But it worked for him, and I think like it could have helped him out. Been there a late safety car, goat Tiffy round 2 or anything like that.
I
There's
wish
plenty of
Hamilton
people.
was in the right spot to do it. And
they kept talking about it. They kept talking about like
They were
all the
willing
past
it into
stuff.
existence,
They
man.
were. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked, but they kept hoping for a safety car. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
They kept like every team, every broadcaster, commentator was like willing something into
Not
existence.
every team. No. When they started talking about that,
Almost.
I went, "What do you mean? Why
Almost.
are we planning for a safety car on lap 50?"
Lando was even talking about it.
I
was
know.
like,
That's why I said,
Yeah.
"Why are we planning for a safety car on lap 50?"
I think it was
No.
like lap 50. It had to be, I don't know, an earlier delayed message. They were like, there's 5 laps left. I was like, you have 8 laps left. What are you talking about? I was like, are you planning for this safety car? I was like, are you going to like pull something? Are you?
Well, there was
They
a
were
couple
even
radio
saying-
messages to Max because he was outside of Oscar's pit window. Like he had pitted and Oscar was still out. Oscar was leading the race at that point, and there were a couple radio messages to Max where they were like, "We want you to ease in these tires. But we also want you to pick up the pace because we don't want him to be able to pit and come out ahead of us." So like,
They were doing something. Oh my God, I don't remember what it was. And one of the broadcasters, I can't even remember who exactly it was like, it's like we're watching the F1 movie here.
Yeah.
They were like,
I do remember this.
I
This
was
is funny.
like, okay.
I thought it was
like,
funny.
it was crazy.
I think
at
they
one
were talking
point.
about that when I think DC said that when they were a bunch of the double overtakes. It was
Yeah.
Lando and
Yes,
then
'cause
was
it was the
Charles
Yes, it was the double overtakes on
on Fernando and Isaac.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Fernando and Liam.
And Liam.
I think it was Liam.
It was
Fernando and
Liam
Liam.
Yeah, I know it
because
was an
Liam was
RB.
tormenting Lando the corner before, and I said,
Yeah.
Liam, no.
because it was the double overtakes. Because then that's when they also
I mean-
started. We're talking about a safety car potentiality. That's not a word. That's not a word.
Is it
Me
not?
and you are like
We're like,
I had to do the intro twice. Fun fact. We're a
But
little overworked right now.
They were
Severely.
talking about all that, and they were talking about the F1 movie. I said, we are not pulling a Sunny Haze right now, where Yuki's just kind of like, all right, ready? Crash 1,
Speaking
crash
of
2.
Yeah. Speaking of like a movie, I'm curious if Oscar, if
thought
like
you were
there
gonna
was a
bring up
safety car.
Zootopia.
No, but that was fun movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. Because in my mind, this is very like movie like. Because I don't see it ever foresee it. I didn't predict it ever happening. Let's put it that way. If Oscar had been leading the race and let's say Charles was ahead. Let's say it was Oscar, Max, Charles, and Lando's in fourth. Is there a world in which it was the opposite way around of Lando being asked to drop off? Or do you think the idea of one of the McLarens like basically ceasing to exist and dropping off so that the other one could win the championship was only for Lando's benefit?
I don't know. I think we'll either.
I've stumped you.
I did the thing with my seat again. I'm a mess today. I think it really had to do with who had the possibility of winning. Because either way, Oscar was behind Max, so either way, he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
Like he would have had to
Because-
be in first.
But that's what I'm
regardless.
saying. Like if Oscar was leading from
He would've
Max
had
and
to overtake
Charles and
Max.
Lando in fourth, I don't know that even in that scenario, Lando is. I think he would still be the favored.
I
like
think
he's still there.
unless it was like the last lap and Oscar was for sure going to outpace Max, and there was no way, maybe drop back,
Yeah.
maybe. But that would be like a Lando thing. That wouldn't be a team thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that would be like if only the person was right up his car, like coming on to him, and he could easily do it. That wouldn't be like, oh, he's a second behind me.
Yeah.
Then I'll drop back.
I want to quickly, before we kind of move and talk some headlines as well and other people's performances, I want to talk about the Mercedes as well. I want to ask also what you guys thought of the Yuki incident, because obviously we talked about, or I mentioned, like that being the plan. But in terms of the investigation that occurred after the incident, did you agree with Yuki's penalty and did you agree with Lando's lack of penalty?
Yes.
Both? Yes
Yeah,
to both.
Because one, Yuki was ahead, but the way he defended so late kind of forced Lando off the track. So even though all four wheels are off the track, he's forced to do that. And Brundle made it very clear that Yuki, you're not allowed to weave. It's very clear in the rules. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to go back and forth. And Yuki went one way, right? If Lando went off track, then that might have been, all right, up to date. But two, he went back the other way to weave. And that second weave, regardless if Lando was behind or not, is not allowed in the rules. So Yuki was definitely in the wrong for weaving on the straight. And the weaving is what caused Lando to go off. Even though if he made the overtake off the track, it's because he was forced off by the weaving as to why this was Yuki's fault and not Lando's fault.
I agree with the Yuki part.
Because Yuki had already swerved for once, and then Lando got next to him, and then Yuki did it again.
Well, so that's what I'm
So-
saying. I agree with the Yuki part. I think Yuki, although the penalty for me was harsh given the historics of the rest of the season when it came to these style of incidents, my thing is, that wasn't what Lando was being investigated for. He wasn't investigated for, like, for being off track. He was investigating for leaving the track and gaining advantage. He overtook off the track. Whether or not he was pushed off or not,
he did do that.
he still overtook off the track. That's my thing.
But then
like,
the hard
in regard,
thing is,
I don't think it would have changed the outcome
Charles,
because I don't think that Max would have been able to back up the pack enough.
No.
If anything, they would have just inverted the McLarens and then had Oscar back up the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
Like, They had enough room to play with, but I still think Lando overtook Yuki off the track. Whether or not he was pushed off is irrelevant. He still overtook off the track.
I think there were two things at play. I think it got more complicated when Charles overtook Yuki, because then that's when the whole thing where they couldn't say, okay, just give the position back, and that's when they had to give the penalty. But I also think that the 5-second penalties are becoming more and more frequent, and that's something I mentioned beforehand, where the FIA is giving out 5-second penalties more and more, because I feel like that's the least thing that they can do while still giving something.
Yeah.
They did that in Qatar for something, and I forget what it was. Was it speeding the pit? No, it wasn't speeding the pit lane. Something.
There's been a lot of speeding in the pit lane
It was Ollie or something. And Qatar, I think. But I mentioned it last time.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
And I brought it up because they've been giving more and more penalties about that. But then also but then I don't think anybody was. They asked about it before. Max even said to Lando in the cool-down room, like, did you want to, or one of them asked somebody, like, did you want to back the grid up? And they were like, no, I didn't really think about it. Nobody was backing anybody up during this race.
I think
nobody. They were so focused on fighting each other. Nobody even thought about backing anybody up.
I think when those tire blankets came off and Oscar was on the hards, there went Max's plan to back people up because it didn't matter.
Yep.
You could back him up all you want. With the strategy Oscar was on, it wouldn't have mattered.
Mm-mm.
The only real reason
those
for Max to back up the pack was if Lando had gotten the penalty.
Yeah.
Then he would have backed up the pack to try and get everybody close to Lando, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then that would have changed the game too, because not only would... So from Leclerc's point of view, for example, there's a lot more at play in terms of, like, I think he would have been more aggressive to stay close. Like, he dropped off a little bit, but, like, if the idea that I don't actually have to overtake him, I just have to be close enough to be within the 5 seconds to get a podium, I think it would have brought others into play, if that makes sense.
That's what I don't know if I necessarily agree with the 5-second penalty for Yuki, because he already lost the position to Leclerc at that point. And so at that point, like, he wasn't really in contention for anything either. So it was kind of just like...
Well, he was thrown to the wolves.
It still affected Norris.
Yuki was like...
That's the thing. He was...
Well, no, it didn't. No, I don't agree with that at all. There was zero effect to Norris. The only reason I would fully agree with Yuki's penalty and wouldn't consider it harsh, because I do think what he did is wrong. The problem is the precedent is that you don't get penalized for that.
Yeah.
Something
should have been done. I just don't know if that was the right thing to do, but it got complicated, which was where the problem lied.
I think that it was harsh because of, like I said, because of the precedent.
What
However,
if Norris crashed? Like, what if he went on the dust
that's different. That would have been
line?
causing a collision. It wouldn't have been weaving. He would have been penalized for causing a collision. My point being, I think it would have been less harsh on Yuki if they had both been penalized. Like, Yuki got penalized for because, again, Yuki didn't get a penalty for pushing a driver off the track. He got a penalty for weaving. So how does Norris not get a penalty for overtaking off track?
Because he had to avoid...
When Yuki didn't get it. No, he was overtaking. He wasn't avoiding. If he needed to avoid, he would have slammed on the brakes. Let's be real. He took advantage.
Yeah.
Yuki was doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
But so was Lando.
No, he only did that because Yuki was doing something he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I will say, the first time I watched
it was a simultaneous
before
acts.
I
It
rewatched
wasn't
it,
avoiding.
the first time I watched it, I thought Lando was just making a hella overtake.
Me too. I didn't see
First time I watched it, I was
off-track.
like, that's a hella overtake. And then they replayed it. I said, huh. Because I didn't think about that much of the white lines, but I was like, kind of like, that's a hella overtake by Norris. And then I was like, ooh, yeah, that might
There were a
actually
couple
be
like stellar overtakes this
an
weekend.
overtake. I was like, that might be an overtake off track. And then they played it again. I was like, ooh, did he get pushed off?
Yeah.
So every time I watched it, I was like, that got more and more complicated.
Yeah. It's a complicated situation. I don't think there's
But
a right and
again,
wrong.
I think that brings up more precedent with
That's
the
why I wanted to ask everybody's
FIA
opinion.
than it is with the drivers.
Yeah. And I think that's a common trend in this sport.
Yeah.
We're not very happy with the FIA or its decisions.
No, why was that man petting his hair like
Okay.
3 times?
That was okay. I was so
Every time he
uncomfortable.
got close,
I was
went, "Get
so
that man away
uncomfortable
from
watching
him."
that. Was he in the cool down room too? Was
Yes.
that what he, okay? I saw his
They all
hand
were.
in the frame, and I was like,
Well, Stefano Witten
So
gave them all
bad.
hugs.
Yeah,
And
but
he's not
he didn't
as
go around
odd. He's not
petting
as
his
weird
hair
though.
Everyone
without
was so funny.
permission.
He's not
It
as
was so
weird though. He took off his hat on the podium and was petting him.
And did it in the cool down room.
Yes.
And then like forced a
But
hug
on the
at the beginning
podium,
and
it
stuff.
was
And it
really
was like
weird.
and then put the hat on wrong and we were just like, get this man away from him.
All of them.
No, there were a lot of.
We'll get into him too.
I think, yeah, we'll talk about that, but I think, like, post-race, I was almost more overwhelmed by the amount of different things happening and the amount of camera shots that needed to be had
there was a lot
than anything else, especially from a production standpoint. I was like, flash to Lando kissing Maggie, then flash to Kelly and
I
Max,
could
then
not
flash to GP on the pit wall
imagine.
crying, then flash to the McLaren celebrating. I was like, guys, I'm overwhelmed. And then cool down room
It's
and
almost
Muhammad's touching everybody's hair. I'm
worse.
like, dude.
Not everybody's. Just
It's almost
Lando's.
worse when you work in it because then you know all the crap that has to be done to get all of that.
Yeah, I was so overwhelmed. But let's talk before we move off of the race. I know there's plenty that could be talked about in general about that race, but I do want to talk about the Mercedes.
Where were they?
They
Didn't happen. Yeah, I think it was funny because pre-race and going, kind of following,
Into
even
the
before
weekend.
quali, it was like, or as the start of quali, it was like, this is Max's shot. Like, I know my favorite thing was George over the radio being in quali, being like, get me out behind Max. He's gonna give me a tow, which is valid. Max would have given him a tow, I think, because he would have much rather had Lando
Taking him up there.
third or Oscar and had the McLarens third and fourth than anything else, because this race has been won, I think, the last 10 times from pole and never been won from P4 or back. So it's like,
And I was saying it before, I really liked when Ruth was in front of the garage and she was like, this is who you want to pay attention to. This is going to be the big shot. This is going to be the one to decide. And then
finishes 50 seconds behind Max.
where are they at?
And Kimi finished what? A position below what he started?
Finished in 15th. He started 14th.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Poor Kimmy.
Yeah, they started 14 and 4th and finished what? 5th?
I don't even know.
Because he was behind Leclerc.
He finished 5th because Fernando finished 6th, Esteban finished 7th, and Lewis finished 8th.
What a performance
To
from
tell you where the
the
Ferraris finished.
Fernandos. What a performance from Fernando, too.
These past 2 weekends, yeah.
Another Q1 appearance. P6 start,
You mean
P6 finish.
Q3?
Q3, sorry. Q1 was
Esteban also
Lewis.
ended up in Q3, and that was interesting too. It was like, oh,
The Haas's were doing stuff this weekend.
not
Yeah.
Ollie. They wouldn't let Ollie drive. I just kept going. One of my friends was like, we need to just start taking shots every time Christina says, Esteban, let Ollie through.
So funny.
Because I said it a lot. But Ollie was on the radio saying, like, tell Esteban to go faster. Tell Lewis to go faster. Make them go faster.
Yeah, there was a lot
Tell
of
them to
wish
go
like,
for
Lewis
the
was
people in front of
faster.
them.
Everybody
was
was just-
trains.
It was a full DRS train, like all the way down for most of the
It was
race.
crazy.
And that was kind of, I think at first, when the race started and people were confused as to why Max wasn't backing the pack up more. And then
Me
DC
too.
was like, yeah, but he's also not driving away. Like, look at the entire grid. They're all going the same pace. Like,
Yeah.
so.
You know, at the beginning of the race, I was on the side of McLaren. They were nervous about Leclerc, but Lando was not, because they were like, if you're comfortable, we'll be fine. But, like,
But
are
then
you
he also
comfortable?
didn't really
They asked him a
think-
lot, and
I
it was
think-
like, okay.
And I don't really say that. I don't say this lightly, but I think there were 2 of them this weekend. But Lando had the drive of a champion. Like,
He did.
he was very cool and calm under pressure, which
And he was fierce.
I don't want to say I wasn't expecting, but I think it's underestimated how much that pressure affects your driving and your ability to stay calm, and especially when you know that the difference in those positions and the difference between a championship and a not that I do think that there was also a cushion in his brain of like, okay, well, like, worst case, if Leclerc gets me, then like Oscar will got my back, you know? But also, like, there's just a lot of pressure with not making a mistake, because it's not just getting overtaken. It's like I could crash into the wall at any second.
I
with
think
this
there
amount of
was
pressure
a
on me.
difference in this drive compared to some of the other drives we've seen from him, especially this
Yeah.
season. Like, just watching him, it was like, I really enjoyed watching him today. Like, it was...
Yeah.
I think you guys just been underestimating him.
I
I'm like,
haven't.
I've been
It's
like
not
this all
that.
season.
It's not that.
It's not that. Like, there was just a difference in him. Like, because
Yeah.
I think... I don't know if it was the fact that he didn't have to win this race. It was the fact that he knew that it was right there within his grasp, or that he was capable and he was worthy of being a world champion finally. Like, if that, like, clicked or whatever. But, like, he knew that he had this within his grasp finally, and it wasn't, like, this, like, distant thing. Like,
Yeah.
the drive he had today, like he was, like you said, calm and cool, collected.
Yeah.
But he was also like fighting and making these incredible overtakes. Like I know Max got driver of the day, but honestly, like
I didn't even know that.
he did.
I was too stressed
But
to vote for
honestly,
that.
I love it. Same. I love it, but at the same time, like honestly, Lando I think should have gotten it because, and we've talked about that before. How it's like a lot of the times on the one
It's a fan vote.
It is.
And I think
So-
he mostly got it because he didn't get the championship. Because I think if he had gotten the championship, Lando would have gotten the driver of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said that I think there were two. I think Max's drive was also the drive of a champion. I think he did exactly what he needed
They
to
all
do, and
had
he
great
maximized his weekend.
Well, they're both champions, so
Yeah.
No, they are. I think also, and I was telling my dad called me expecting me to be like furious. And I said, they all earned it. Whether or not I think, and again, I don't think, I will stand by this till my grave. I don't think Lando was the best driver of 2025. I think Max was the best driver of 2025. I think Lando had the most complete season, but if you look at the performance, the most standout performances were from Max.
So
Max
you're just
did more
saying
with
Max's
less.
peaks were higher, but Lando is more consistent.
Correct. And again, consistency wins championships. Like, I'm not saying he didn't deserve the championship. He deserved it. He earned it. And I think from a fan point of view, as a Max fan, what hurts for me is not the loss. It's not even the fact that I felt like he was a more solid driver or that he had more wins this season. What hurts for me, and I think what hurts for a lot of people, even on the Oscar side, is the hope. It's the idea that halfway through the season, I would have been thrilled with him splitting the McLarens. And now it hurts that he didn't take it by 2 points, you know?
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with Stars. So I think it's interesting. I think no matter the result, there's always going to be someone salty or someone not happy with it or someone, I guess if you're a Lando fan, you're happy. If you're an Oscar or Max fan, I don't even think you can say disappointed because they all drove spectacular seasons.
It was a crazy season.
It was a crazy season. And I'm sure we'll have an episode in the coming future of kind of like highlight moments. And I think the OG crew will come back and look at our preseason predictions because that would probably be freaking hilarious.
Mine is definitely Lewis. Lewis finishing 8th in Abu Dhabi would have not been.
No, that does not fit your plan, your preseason plan.
Nope.
That's not
Next
too
year's our
far
year's
off.
plan.
You told me he was going to be out 3 times in Q1.
3 consecutive
I
Q1
think I
eliminations.
would've
I think it was
lost
4.
my crap. I think it was 4 too.
It was 4, but it was 3 consecutive
consecutive.
Grand Prix qualifying.
Um,
So, because it was 4 because he had the sprint, but they were 3.
you told me
So-
that in our first PSN segment at the beginning of this year. I think I would have lost my crap.
Before we get into headlines and news, I want to talk about the FP1 session with all of the rookies.
I loved that.
it was great.
It's always entertaining. There's never when FP1 is super super early US time. So most of the time I
watching
don't
it.
wake up for it. I'll watch the highlights. It's like I love F1, but for me it's not worth it. Like I need my sleep because my day is so
Did
packed.
you wake up?
I don't remember.
It was 4 a.m. on Friday.
See, no, I think I had other things to do, or I wasn't feeling well. But
I know
I
you were
did
talking
rewatch
about
it all because I
Yeah.
had.
I did
I
rewatch.
did rewatch it. I watched
I
it.
had Arthur on the TV and then
Arthur was
FP1
hysterical.
on my computer.
Arthur, I think, was the best part of it.
No.
Oh, you mean Leclerc Jr.?
Yes.
or
Those
little
comments, little
No, it's-
Leclerc Jr. Those comments on radio,
Leclerc. Or as I've been saying all weekend, look, my favorite white boy.
He's so funny.
he is literally
The
the more French
commentary-
version of Charles.
The
Well, no,
commentary
Charles
he
is
provides-
Monegasque, and Arthur
is
is French.
but
you
not
know-
literally.
Yeah, but we're French. We like perfume. I am French. And then I am
The
not
commentary
French, so.
he was providing was so funny, but then also it's
He
like
didn't talk enough.
he did, but
It
then
was
towards
his
the
little-
end was
The
great.
Charles spin right in front of him, and
He
he's
said,
like,
was
he's
doing
doing
burnouts.
Was he doing burnouts for the
fans?
Tabassi? And
Yeah.
they went, nah, he had a spin. He was like, yeah, no, burnouts for the fans.
So funny.
Perfect cover story.
I think my dad was very, I don't want to say he was confused, but I provided some clarification as to why a lot of times they have all these rookies testing in Abu Dhabi. You'd think Oscar wants all the FP1 time he wants. But all of these rookies are going to be driving next week. This coming week, with the Abu Dhabi, the winter testing in Abu Dhabi, like Max is
Do
not
we only
driving
have
that.
one rookie for next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but there's
Wait, 2, Fernando Alonso.
oh yeah.
I will say
Never
another.
count that man
Can't
out.
forget him.
Another
You know,
one.
2017 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year.
That's
I will
right.
say another one that I realized they were talking about a decent amount aside from Arthur. When they were on the Alpines a good
Yeah, they bring
bit,
up Paul.
they were
Yeah.
bringing up Paul.
Love
a
Paul. He's
good
my
amount.
second
Love Paul.
favorite
They
white boy.
literally said at one point, they were like, I think he should have been in the car this year. I was like,
ooh,
can't
damn, bruh.
disagree.
So like,
Can't disagree.
But
I
they-
agree,
he's-
but at the same time, no, because Flavio Briatore.
I
That
agree. I
scares
agree
me.
with that. I agree with that sentiment. But I was like, they were talking a good bit about him being in the car,
yeah,
and I was very happy about that because, as we
Is
mentioned
he?
before, he is kind of got pushed aside, as
Yeah.
had Jack Doohan. But I said that weird.
Check
uh,
doing
Yeah, I said that weird.
is who's doing Alpine's rookie test?
I'm gonna go with Paul. I don't
Jack
know.
and Paul.
I think it's.
Is it not 2? Do they usually? It's one car, but
I
do they
don't know.
usually split it?
I don't know.
I am still.
I know Dino's doing Ferrari.
Maybe it's Paul and Colapinto.
I need to ring this up because we haven't talked about this in so long. I am still all in favor of F2 drivers, either like the reserves for those teams or whatever, racing the F1 cars in Abu Dhabi the weekend following the race.
I was thinking about that
think
earlier.
that's
I was
cool.
like, I would
Instead
like
of boring
25 races.
testing.
I
Actually,
think
no.
it's cool.
Can I get 23 races of the year? The 24th race be a rookie only year. You have to never raced a Grand Prix. So not even like Ollie the year before when he had done 3 could count.
I
You
love
have to
that.
have never raced a Grand Prix. Put them in the car. The cars,
Yep.
especially if the wrecks are changing, the cars are gonna destroy the cars. Who cares? The wrecks are different.
I
you
was
don't need
happy
them
that there
anymore.
wasn't like crashes.
yeah.
That's why after.
So
Yeah.
there wasn't any crashes, thank God.
Put
but,
Dino and Arthur in a car. Put
I-
Paul in the car.
well, they have
Did
all
you-
raced before. So
Did you hear the cool down room Max asking if they were to do this, if they were doing I don't know if it was Max or Oscar who asked if they were doing the postseason test, and Max was like, hell no.
It was Max who
Was
asked.
it Max who asked?
He
and
asked
Oscar was
Lando.
like, they both said, everybody said no.
Yeah, he asked
Lando's
Lando.
gonna be
You think they
drunk as
want
hell. Lando's gonna be drunk as hell for many days.
Well, the one literally said like,
Oscar
oh,
is
go
gonna be
out tonight. You're
drowning
gonna
in
be
his
up
sorrows.
late tonight.
And I think Max might be the earliest turn in. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Man's the
He already
dad.
went out.
He definitely went out.
That's what I mean. We have a picture.
He definitely went out. But I'm saying between the 3 of them, I feel like he might be the first one in.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go celebrate with his gin and tonics.
It's
call it a
Kelly's
night.
birthday. His partner. Well, I don't like that they use partner. It's girlfriend. His girlfriend Kelly. It's her birthday today, which kind of when I woke up and I realized that, and I texted in the group chat, I was like, man, now he's got to win, or it's gonna be a really shit birthday for Kelly because, like, I think it helps that he won the race, and I think in part, like he said it over and over again throughout the weekend, was like, I already have 4. Like every one after the first one was
That
a bonus.
was mind game. I'm sorry. There was partly mind
Part
game.
of it was mind
Part
games.
of it was that he
to me
didn't
was
care.
denial.
That's like part of it was that he didn't care. Part
I
of
don't
it was
even know
denial.
that he didn't care. I think it was just denial. I think it was
I think that was part of it. But the other part of
monitoring
it, I
his
think,
expectations
was
because
that-
so much could happen.
I think one part of it is though that's just how he is, but it's an underlying like that's how he is around his competitors, and
Yeah.
it messes with the people that he competes with genuinely because he's that good and is at that level where when you're sitting next to Lando and Oscar who have never done it and you're like, I don't care, I didn't really do it, my parents don't even like
My
they're
parents
not
aren't
even paying
coming.
attention, they're
They
not
decided
doing
not to come
anything.
post Zandvoort. I
And
was
he-
like, oh damn.
He's like, my name's on there 4 times already, I got 4 at home, and the other 2 are like, huh?
I need to win this.
They're like, I don't know what to do. Like it was.
I mean, counter to that, like
It was
obviously
crazy.
Max was pretty emotional.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Not winning, and
But he
GP
was
was,
so-
like basically crying.
GP was.
But I think part
I'm
of it,
worried.
and it was really sad. Like that was the moment. That was for me the moment, like the shock or the hit me moment of like, oh shit, like he didn't win. You know, like
Yeah.
obviously Lando across the line, I'm seeing him celebrate, whatever. But like that GP moment was the like, oh shit, like they didn't take it this year, you know. And I think after 4 years of winning, you get that expectation. And GP and Max have had such a long
And there's
ride.
a lot of hope coming back from like I think they were in the hole like 100 points
104
coming
to
back
Oscar,
from
and they
104.
beat Oscar.
That's
so
what happened.
That's a huge comeback
Yeah.
for them. But also, GP's role is kind of uncertain, right? Like, he's still been Max's engineer this year, but he
Yep.
did get a promotion midway through the season. I think he's head of trackside engineering. So
But the big thing is that apparently because of personal reasons, he might not be back next year.
Right.
Not so much that Red Bull are like forcing him out, like, hey, you know, you're going to be this manager and stay at the factory, or, you know, we can't have you be race engineer anymore.
I don't
right?
I don't
I
know
mean,
that I see
that's
him
not-
disappearing
Yeah, that's
from the
not
team.
from Red
I
Bull.
mean,
Any change would
supposedly-
come from his end.
Supposedly, Helmut Marko might also be leaving, so he could be doing.
I wouldn't be
man-
surprised. He's
That-
old.
That man will be
Wondering
in the
what's
ground
happening.
before he ever retires. Let's be real.
He's like
Sue?
who is it? Bernie Ecclestone.
That would make me much happier for.
Bernie Ecclestone still walks
for
around.
Isaac.
Yes.
He's like
I couldn't think of
97.
his name. And everybody
Yeah.
in Red Bull, honestly.
Yeah,
I
I think Helmut
He's
out is
95.
crazy, but possible.
I
think it'd be
he
a
was
big
the one
turnaround.
saying, "I don't know what I'm doing next year" or something like that.
He says that every year. So did Adrian. He said that going into this year. Helmut said, "I don't know what my role's gonna be," and then
Aside-
look who got fired and look who stayed in his role. So
Aside
Yeah.
from a role, does Max know what number he's gonna have?
I
next year?
know. So we
Ooh.
talked about this many times. Everybody's like, he's just gonna take 33. I was like, okay, let's see. But he said he doesn't plan. He doesn't know yet, but he doesn't plan to take 33. I think he wants
Will-
3.
Interesting.
I think it was 3, but
I
will Lando take 1
I don't know.
Oh,
'Cause
this is a good
4
question.
has gotten so ingrained
into everything?
I don't
so,
know
like,
if he's gonna take
because
1.
the
I don't know if they
LN
take
makes
one.
a 4.
That's what I mean. That's his.
now,
That's his
and it's
thing.
like it works.
But
I'm not gonna be surprised either way.
I don't
wouldn't
think
be
he's gonna take
surprised.
it.
Thing is, you can get really close to a 4 with a 1.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
don't know if he's gonna take it, man.
I don't.
I think
4 is like his thing.
there's the
and he's
50-50,
built up
right?
around it.
There's the
'Cause, I mean, he
element
didn't
of
want
the
4 at
logo,
all.
the 4, like this
The
is his
brand.
brand. And there's the element of this
It's
could be my
one.
only one, and you can only have the number 1 if you are champion. So there's both sides. I think that the other thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about the number 1 and the number changes is the F1 intro change. It's the first time in 4 years that it's going to be Lando at the end and not
Yeah.
Max.
Well, either way, the constructors is always at the end, unless it's like the world champion, unless
Yeah.
it's Max. So either way, they were gonna be there.
Yeah. So I think that will be really interesting to see what he takes. I still think he's going to take the number 3. I still think he
think he
really
will.
wants 69, and I think it would be freaking hilarious. The FIA is not going to let him do that.
I saw a joke online.
I mean,
They're
no,
like,
they,
is
they
69.
have to.
There's a
no
Google
way they
search that
don't.
pops up.
No,
if
there's
you look up.
definitely
Maybe he'll
no
take
way.
Lightning
They
McQueen's
don't
number
let him.
96.
I thought Lightning was 99.
No, he's 96.
Crazy. I'm totally
Or
like,
no, wait, he's
delusional.
95. I lied. But
he's
Max
He's
could
95.
take 96 instead of
Rusties.
69.
Rusties.
And it's the
There's
same
literally a
thing.
Google search that popped up when I was looking up something earlier, and it was like, is 90 or 69 allowed in F1? And it's like, if that's your biggest concern in the midst of this championship,
Yeah.
I don't know.
One thing also Red Bull related that we didn't talk about yet is Isaac being promoted. Of course, it happened
Came
right
out
after.
And of course,
Day
I called this
after.
months ago.
We all called this months ago. Let's be real. I know
But
you did
she-
say it
yeah.
on the podcast months ago.
Another young career going in the toilet.
Unless Marco leaves.
So Isaac promoted to Red Bull with Arvid racing alongside Liam in the Racing Bulls. Yuki is a
He's
reserve.
Oh, he's a reserve.
For how long? I don't know. I think his career is over. I really think he should try and
open
get
his Michelin star
try and get
restaurant.
Aston.
Apparently, he tried to
Or
talk to other
racing Super
teams,
Formula.
and Red Bull didn't
Yeah,
let him.
Red Bull wouldn't let him talk to other
Red
teams.
Bull did
Other
not-
teams reached
he's
out to
still
him.
under
Let
contract.
him talk to other teams.
Well,
Yeah.
now he can, but before he was still under contract.
No,
I also
as
think
of
it's
like recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's also wild to me, and I think they mentioned this on the broadcast, that they even told him before this race.
Yes. They talked about that
If
on the
I was
broadcast.
Yuki, I would be so much more inclined to defend my ass off against Lando and even like do something crazy. Exactly. I didn't want to say it. I want to get
I wouldn't have.
taken out
I
of
was like,
context.
I don't have a seat anymore. What's the point?
no, but I think if he didn't know, he'd be much more likely to help,
defend.
to
I do
defend
think I
aggressively
could see
and help.
him. I know Crawford just became the official reserve for Aston. He's not doing F2 at all. He's only the reserve next
Mm-hmm.
year. But I wouldn't be surprised if Yuki goes over there because, as someone said, it starts with an H and ends with Onda during one of the broadcasts. because they were talking about the seats, and they were like, well, I think a big reason Yuki was because of a thing called that starts with an H and ends with Honda.
Yep. So that's probably why. Yeah.
I would like him.
I'm
I
surprised
wanna
if he ends
see
up
him
at
back.
Aston.
But at the same time, I
don't
know we
know.
keep going back to that same conversation where we almost don't like seeing them back because we want that
Yeah.
fresh blood. But it's also so hard when this type of thing
Because-
happens where they get kicked almost, I don't want to say unfairly.
I don't know. I don't
Because
think that was
it's-
unfair.
that's like,
I'm
it's
gonna be
not
honest.
unfair.
I don't think it was
It's-
unfair.
I mean, our other option is
It's not necessarily
Yuki
unfair.
fulfills his life dream because, as we all know, in the questions,
I think he's going
they
to Super
ask the
Formula.
drivers, "What do you want?" They all say World Championships, and Yuki goes to open a restaurant. So he will now go open, as I will say, a Michelin star restaurant because Yuki will only serve the best, and he can go accomplish his lifelong dream.
Yeah.
He's got the money now.
I think there's a lot that can happen on that front, and I think
There is.
again, like Sydney was saying, I think the biggest concern, well, I want to say concern, but the biggest issue that I have right now with Formula One is, besides the FIA and the entertainment aspect, from a driver's perspective, is that the way, if you look up and down the grid, besides Lewis, Nico,
Nando?
Nando,
Our rookie Fernando.
and next year, Valtteri and Checo, everyone else is in their 20s.
Yep.
And with the exception of potentially like Max, no one's retiring in the next 5 years.
No.
So where are those seats going to come from? You're not going to keep adding seats. 22
Nope.
is our limit, in my opinion.
Well,
I don't
24 officially under the Concord Agreement, right?
Yeah, but I don't see us going to 24. Like 22 is a lot. With the size of car we have right now, 22 is a lot.
And
Well,
it's
the
not gonna
cars
get
are
any
shrinking for
smaller.
next year.
For next year,
Yeah.
but it's
By
not going to get...
this much,
And
but it's-
grids have been this large
But it's
before.
not gonna
like
get
all
any
these
smaller
tracks
for a
should
hot
be able to
minute.
handle it, no problem.
Yeah, but with the last time we had 24 cars on the grid in Monaco, the cars were much smaller.
The
I mean,
cars
just
are
look at the
shrinking.
F3 races. They've got
Cars are shrinking.
way more
Yeah,
than 24
But
cars.
those
on the
Cars
cars are
are
much
shrinking.
smaller.
I was just bringing up the chaos. I'm gonna
There's
jump
a lot
back
of
to
chaos.
Yuki though. How do we
Mm-hmm.
think Pierre's doing?
With what?
Yuki's gone.
He's still
Yuki's still
going
gonna be on the grid. He's gonna be at
Yeah,
every
but
race. He's a
Did
reserve.
you see Pierre bought dinner?
Yes.
That is nice.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I can't believe we made it this far into the podcast.
He
without
bought
talking
dinner.
About this.
And I was like, and we all went, oh, he bought dinner for Yuki. That's what I was
No,
seeing.
my initial thing was, I thought Lewis bought dinner, and then I was
Everybody
like,
thought Lewis
everybody
bought
mentioned
dinner.
Lewis. Russell mentioned that Lewis ordered everything on
Yes.
the menu, and I'm like, so you ordered everything on the menu, and then Pierre paid. I think Pierre definitely insisted on paying. It's not
Isn't
like
Lewis
Probably.
also vegan?
yes.
I don't think Lando ate.
Apparently I saw that
It was sushi.
he. I
and
was
he
saying,
went,
no,
delicious.
apparently he said in like one of the fan panels that he ate sushi.
I don't
That
believe
he ate
it.
Fish.
He
Did he
said,
I
really?
will find the video.
all
Please
I
find
saw
this
was
video.
we had sushi. It was delicious. And we
Yeah.
all went, you didn't actually eat that. That was
He-
sarcasm, sir.
I don't think so.
Mister, I'm allergic to fish. And I don't want it near
Is
me.
he allergic or is he just not like it? Because he has.
He's not
tried
allergic.
it.
I don't think he's
He
I was
allergic.
saying, he's
refuses to eat it.
tried it before.
No, he has.
Yeah.
Get that thing away from me.
Um,
I don't like
But no,
fish
because
either.
How do
Liam
we-
said,
Tried it.
I want to be able to have the money to pay for a dinner like Pierre did. He was like, I wish I had Pierre's money.
well, Pierre's been in F1 for a long time. He's another example of like someone who's been there for a long time.
He's paid
moved
his
around.
dues.
He's paid his dues.
He's suffered the torture of Red Bull.
How do we? Speaking of, that's exactly where I was going. Actually, speaking of suffering the torture of Red Bull, how do we feel about Arvid?
Arvid Limble.
excited.
Is he ready?
He's only in the racing bulls, so he will be fine.
I think racing
I don't know
bulls
if
is
he's
okay
right.
for him, but again, I'm kind of over the let's throw him in after 1 year anywhere. I think everybody needs at least 2 years to settle anywhere. So.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm really nervous about
realistically,
this
they
situation.
said we did the Max thing where he skipped and they got in. Mercedes was like, look, we
Not
just did that with
everybody is
Not
Max.
everybody's
No,
Max
I-
Verstappen.
I'm not done. I'm still talking. And
No,
then
just-
and then Mercedes did the whole thing where it's like, look, we got Kimi, we moved him up, he's performing well. So now Red Bull's like, oh, we're gonna do it again with Arvid.
That was Max Verstappen. That was Kimmy who was Kimmy. But at the same time,
Kimmy is projected to
This
be the next
could
Max.
be-
Arvid's never been that person. I love him. I love
But
him.
Arvid-
He's great. But,
Arvid and Kimi had
that-
similar performance in F2.
but
so.
that also.
but Kimi didn't get into Mercedes because of his performance in F2. Let's be real. He sucked in F2.
But at
He-
the
he
same
was in
time, this
Mercedes before them.
interest, this
So-
new generation of is this the same performance? Like, is Kimmy this beacon of this new generation of drivers that could all hone this performance, or is he just the cream of the crop for this generation and is now beckoning this new generation? They're
there's
all
a
gonna
difference.
All the rookies have been great, except
They
Jack
have.
Doohan has been mid and Colapinto has been mid.
But also,
But other
have
than
they been
that,
rushed?
The rest of them have been great.
Same thing with
I think all of
Sargent.
them have.
everybody's
Exactly,
rushed.
exactly. Same thing with
R.I.P.
Sargent. Were they rushed?
Logan.
Yes.
Mainly because of Red Bull, who can't.
Red Bull. Look, I will say
Who keep
Sargent
firing
was
drivers.
one where
I
he
think
had his time, and I will agree that like
R.I.P.
he, yeah.
R.I.P.
I
my
am
man.
He
looking
could be-
forward to Checo being better than Bottas next year.
Check
Battle
was a
of the number
topic. I'm
twos.
not even gonna talk about that.
I'm question.
Bro, do we get a video of them throwing Valtteri in the water?
No.
What? That happened?
There's a trend. If you leave a team, you like get dropped off at the other team, and like they throw you in the water, things like that. It's a whole
Oh, I
thing.
remember that
You're getting,
during.
like, transferred
I remember
from
that
team to
after
team.
21.
Who was tied up and
20
and
that was
shipped over?
Valtteri.
No. He was put on a cart.
I thought it was
Nick
Valtteri.
DeVries? Yeah, Nick DeVries. Nick
Oh, it was
DeVries.
definitely
Yeah, but
Yes.
no,
You're right.
He was
Literally,
put on a
Mercedes
cart.
made a thing of the last episode ever of Valtteri Explains, and he was Valtteri Explains what happens when you leave a team. And he was like, you get dumped in the water in Abu Dhabi. You get dumped in the marina. The team throws you in the marina. So
That's
I'm
funny.
waiting for the video of the team throwing Valtteri in
Nick
the marina.
DeVries was tied onto one of those.
Little trolley
Hand
like move
trucks.
carts.
Sports,
Yeah.
It's things like this in sports where I'm really like,
There's always the moments, the
They're
funny,
just a
like
bunch of children.
iconic
we
moments.
are.
They
Yeah,
are.
That's
here
what I
it
mean. Like we
is.
really are
Look at
just like
that.
all kids in sports.
Look at that.
He
And he got
says
tossed
as
in
if
the
we can't
marina.
see what
Here's
he
the
said.
video of the Nick DeVries tossed in the marina. Oh,
Right. As if we
electric.
can't-
Yeah,
as
see,
if
they
we
all
can
get
see
tossed
that.
Very
in the
good.
marina.
You can look it up at home, guys. We are not inserting that into the vid.
Let's before we end off, I do want to talk about Laura Villers. She is currently taking the FIA to court
Yes.
over the
And
president
people hate the
debacle.
French.
Yes.
Slay the
We go to
French.
court in France.
Please tell us the court case.
Pretty much, she is suing the FIA because, as you know, she was going for the president position, and she pretty much, like, everyone was really excited about it because she was the woman who was running against Ben. I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm not even gonna say it.
Sule,
Yes,
MBS.
and pretty much, he was the only one who was even allowed to run because you have to get endorsements from each of like the nations or whatever in the motorsports.
the continents. You have
Yes.
to get,
Yeah.
except for Europe, you have to get 2.
Yeah, but for the one, I believe it's
South America.
South America, one of them. There's only one, and she is already endorsing Ben.
MBS.
Yes, and so because of that, because she's already endorsing it, there's no way that Laura would ever be
Yeah.
able to get that endorsement, like at all.
That's crazy.
And so because
that's
of
probably
those
why
practices,
Tim Mayer dropped out
and she,
earlier. He
and
would have been
that-
awesome. A representative from the Americas.
that's
of
what I mean.
ACAS,
And
like,
so because of that endorsement for BSM, like
Right,
there's
because
no
then-
way to ever get that endorsement, and you have to get one from each like section.
yeah, it just means that
There's no way
whoever gets that person's
anybody-
endorsement will always be
Yes.
president.
So
It's
which means
putting
that
the decision
he
in one
can
person's
always
hands.
that means he can always have those endorsements regardless of
Yeah.
where anybody else gets them from. He will always have that one.
And
so
thanks
she is
to
going
France.
to go. Yeah. So since the FIA is like a French,
Because they're
Version, yeah.
sanctioned in France.
Yeah.
In their like laws, it says anything that like court-wise has to go through the French courts.
yes, it has to be like democratic, and it has to be like democratic, clear, transparent, and like sanctioned under
Yeah.
this. So she's taking them because it's not clear, it's not transparent, and it's not fair. So
Yeah.
she is taking them to court to go over this, go through their policies, try to change it because it's not fair, and it's obviously something that can't be done with because
Yeah.
if you're clearly endorsing one candidate and you only have one person who can endorse it, there's no way anybody else can run.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they looked at her court case last week or something, like earlier this week in France, like with her and like them, and they were like, yes, this has to get moved up to actual court.
They're going
This
in
has to be evaluated.
February, I believe it's like the second or third week of
Yeah.
February
Yeah.
that they will hear her case
But-
and talk about it.
Potentially,
but the thought
it could be
process
annulled
is-
this election if
It
if
is.
the
He is
France
going.
chooses.
He is going to be the president.
He's
for next
already
year.
the election's already happened.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
going to be president.
He will
but
be president.
But this
depending
is
on
a-
how the results are in February, the French government could make that election null and make them do another election.
Yeah, but I think realistically, it's just going to be a forced policy change for the next
Yes.
the next
I
election
agree.
already.
Let us have
scheduled.
hope,
But
though.
the fact that she is
We
doing
can
this
wish.
in the first place is really great because I think it sets the precedent that we could have more representatives in each place, and then that way, like you said, we could get more like representation from each place, and just it sets a better precedent for the future.
I want to.
Yeah. And like you said, it was really awkward seeing him on the podium petting people. I don't want to
Just
see
one
that
man.
anymore.
Just one man. He didn't do it to all of them. I feel like that would have
Yeah.
been less weird. It was just one man. Multiple
That was
times.
really
Oh,
awkward,
God.
and I don't want to see
And
that anymore.
and Lando felt like you could see the awkward look on his face.
I really don't want to see that anymore.
He was
The
like,
other
he's kinda
awkward-
just like, Max, is this what happens every time?
The other awkward was Oscar like immediately going to the cool down room and Lando being down there and taking pictures with the entire team and everybody, and Oscar's just like not there.
Yeah, because
Oscar
Oscar, I mean,
congratulated
he had
him
the
and
longest
stuff.
shot out of the three, but it was legit, and he overtook Lando off the start. He
Let's be real.
led the race for a
There's a
little
lot
bit,
of papaya rules to unpack.
but
from the
also
season.
he led the championship the most days out of the season.
Yeah,
And he's probably looking back not as what happened this race, but he's probably looking back
Baku.
at the whole season
Baku.
rather than just this race.
Yeah.
And
was the
the
turning point.
championship was only won by 2 points. Like,
It's
that's a
insane.
sprint race. That's a sprint race difference.
I
Or
would
a not McLaren
That's
mistake
one
in Las
position
Vegas.
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah,
one
that's
position.
one position
not
anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
like I think for me, one thing I would love to do, like I wish I had this kind of time, but if anybody does and wants to feed me the results later, I would love to go back and watch every race
This is closer than
and
2021.
think and really go through and be like, okay, if exclude any type of team bias and any mistakes. And mistakes, I mean like not a driver mistake, but I'm talking like, okay, when the long
the
pit
guitar
stop for
call?
Lando, or I think like you can't remove penalty regulation stuff, but like I'm talking like pit stop errors or something like that. Remove all that stuff and remove team interference. What does the standings actually look like? You know, like, and that includes
part
like
of the
the
game.
DNF, right?
Yeah.
I would love to know like what the standings would look like without certain mistakes. And again, Max probably said it 100 times the course this weekend because everybody wanted to get their clip of him saying it. He was still in the game because of other people's failures. Like, he drove a great season, and especially the second half of the season. But the only reason his second half of the season even mattered was because other people failed. Like, other people, namely McLaren, actually only McLaren, they had a lot of failures. They had a lot of upsets, things that shouldn't have happened.
And somehow, Max and Red Bull were able to avoid that, which I think it counts
Crazy.
almost as much as putting a good race is avoiding a bad one.
They were even
Oh, yeah.
talking about how they were almost expecting, like I said before, like a safety car or DNF or something, because all these cars were on their last leg. Like they were all with the finished parts. They
Yep.
were all finishing the fuel,
Yep.
finishing.
We didn't have that
finishing
many
last
engine
race.
grid penalties this year.
No.
Cars have been
Didn't they
We've had
adjust the
some-
penalties this year for
yeah.
engines though?
We've had
So-
some poor
Kind of,
reliability
yeah.
We've had a
compared
lot
to
of
last year,
like
but
pit lane starts,
Oh
but
my
not
God,
as
dude.
many.
The amount of
outright
pit lane
penalties.
infringements this year was
Crazy.
unreal. I would like to know how many pit lane fines Williams served this year.
At least two.
quite a lot.
At least like
Hey,
6.
2 podiums for Williams though.
Yeah,
It's been a season.
it's been a season. We'll definitely be doing a full season debrief recap. You can also stay
Look
tuned for
forward.
some girl talk. If you're interested in all of the WAG action, all of the socials content that we don't talk about regularly, that is definitely to come over the break. But overall, this was an unforgettable season, which I feel honored to be able to have covered with the 4 of you, and also specifically with the girls, because there's not a lot of females in this sport, and the fact that we get to come on here every week or almost every week and talk about it together, and then go on sports night and talk about it on there and 360 and everything, it means a lot. It means a lot. It's a lot of like retrospect. I know that Max had a lot of thought behind a lot of things, and on the radio, and Lando thinking about the whole season, and Oscar, and everyone has their takeaways from this season, but I think that was mine. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. The little dream is at 97 podcasts. So
Wow.
Crazy.
time flies. Not to exclude Jason. It was an honor, man. You've done almost all 97. I want to say you've done at least like 95.
Yeah, maybe 2.
2 or 3 that you
Maybe
missed,
2.
but
Yeah.
Very consistent.
Been quite a while.
Quite the
and a
journey.
few live shows we've gone
Few
360.
live shows.
Those were
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, whether or not you loved the end result or not,
We hope you loved us.
we hope you loved us. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed this little debrief. We will definitely be talking about our predictions and everything else in coming episodes. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.